In the twilight years of the Second Age, when the shadows of evil began to stretch over the lands of Middle-earth, a tale of courage and tragedy unfolded. A tale of Isildur, heir of Númenor, and a pivotal figure in the struggle against the Dark Lord Sauron. Isildur was the eldest son of Elendil the Tall, Lord of Andúni, a noble line descended from the faithful Númenóreans who remained loyal to the Valar and friendly to the Elves. Númenor was a mighty island kingdom, a gift from the Valar to the Edain after the defeat of Morgoth in the First Age. Its people, the Dunedain, were granted wisdom, longevity, and prosperity beyond other men. However, as centuries passed, the hearts of the Númenóreans began to yearn for immortality, envying the agelessness of the Elves. Sauron, who had survived the downfall of his master Morgoth, saw an opportunity. Under the guise of a benevolent counselor, he allowed himself to be captured by ar-pharazon, the last and most powerful king of Númenor. Through deceit and manipulation, Sauron corrupted the king and many of his followers, turning them against the Valar and the Elves. Isildur, recognizing the growing darkness, remained steadfast in his loyalty to the Valar. In the capital city of Armanelos stood the White Tree, Nimloth, a symbol of the connection between Númenor and the Elves of Tol Eressëa. Sauron, despising this symbol, convinced ar-pharazon to cut it down as a defiance against the Valar. Understanding the grave significance of this act, Isildur undertook a perilous mission. Disguised and under the cover of night, he infiltrated the king's courts to save a fruit of Nimloth before it was destroyed. Tolkien writes in the Silmarillion, Isildur, disguised, went forth in the night and came to the place of the tree, which was forbidden to all by the orders of Sauron. There he took a fruit from the tree, and with it he barely escaped with his life. During his escape, Isildur was grievously wounded by the king's guards, but he held tight to the precious fruit. His sacrifice ensured that the line of the White Tree would not perish. Miraculously, after planting the seedling, Isildur's wounds began to heal, symbolizing hope and resilience in the face of encroaching darkness. As Sauron's influence reached its peak, he convinced ar-pharazon to undertake an unthinkable act: to sail upon Valinor, the Undying Lands, in open rebellion against the Valar, seeking immortality by force. This hubris led to the downfall of Númenor. Ilúvatar the One responded by changing the shape of the world. Númenor was swallowed by the sea, and the Undying Lands were removed from the circles of the world. Forewarned by visions and the counsel of the Valar, Elendil and his sons, Isildur and Anarion, gathered the remaining faithful. They built 9 ships, loading them with their families, loyal followers, and treasured artifacts, including the Palantir and the sapling of the White Tree. As the great wave consumed Númenor, they set sail, guided by the stars and the grace of the Valar, towards Middle-earth. Upon reaching the shores of Middle-earth, Elendil landed in the north and established the kingdom of Arnor, while Isildur and Anarion sailed up the river Anduin, founding the kingdom of Gondor in the south. In Minas Ithil, the tower of the rising moon, Isildur planted the sapling of the White Tree, a beacon of hope and a link to their lost homeland. However, Sauron, whose physical form was lost in the cataclysm, but whose spirit endured, returned to Mordor. Seeing the rise of the Númenorian exiles, he perceived a new threat. He launched an assault on Gondor, capturing Minas Ithil and setting fire to the White Tree. Isildur, unable to hold the city, escaped with his wife and sons, carrying with him a seedling of the tree, just as he had in Númenor. Isildur sought out his father in Arnor, traversing perilous lands to warn him of Sauron's resurgence. Elendil and Isildur appealed to the High King of the Elves, Gil-galad, forging the last alliance of elves and men. Together, they mustered a great host to challenge Sauron's tyranny. The combined armies marched upon Mordor, laying siege to Barad-dûr for 7 long years. The siege was arduous, with heavy losses on both sides. In the climactic battle, Sauron himself emerged, towering and terrible. In the fray, both Gil-galad and Elendil were slain. Elendil's sword, Narsil, broke beneath him as he fell. Amidst the devastation, Isildur stood over his father's body. Grief-stricken yet resolute, he took up the hilt shard of Narsil. In a final act of defiance, he cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand, severing the Dark Lord's physical form from his spirit. Tolkien describes this moment. And the ring Isildur took for his own, and would not surrender it to the flames. This I will have as weregild for my father's death, and my brothers, he said. Though Elrond and Círdan urged him to destroy the ring in the fires of Mount Doom, Isildur refused, succumbing to the ring's allure. This choice would have dire consequences for Middle-earth. Isildur assumed the title of High King of Arnor and Gondor. He planted the seedling of the White Tree in Minas Anor, later known as Minas Tirith, ensuring its legacy continued. Yet his fate was sealed by his possession of the ring. On his journey back to Arnor, Isildur's company was ambushed by orcs in the Gladden Fields. In the disaster of the Gladden Fields, his sons were slain, and Isildur, attempting to escape, put on the ring to vanish from sight. But the ring betrayed him, slipping from his finger and revealing him to his enemies. As he tried to swim across the river Anduin, he was shot by orc arrows, and the ring was lost in the murky depths. The ring's treachery ensured it would one day return to its master. Isildur's legacy is one of both heroism and tragedy. He showed immense courage in saving the line of the White Tree, defying Sauron, and fighting valiantly in the last alliance. Yet his failure to destroy the One Ring set the stage for future strife. His lineage continued through his surviving son Valandil, who was but a child in Rivendell during these events. The line of Isildur endured, though diminished, eventually leading to Aragorn, who would fulfill the destiny Isildur could not, by helping to destroy the One Ring and reunite the kingdoms of Arnor and Gondor. Isildur's journey reflects the complex nature of men in Tolkien's world, the capacity for great deeds and profound failings. His actions had lasting repercussions, reminding us that the choices of one can shape the fate of many. Thank you for joining us on this epic journey through the trials and triumphs of Isildur, heir of Númenor. If you found this tale engaging, please like the video, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe for more deep dives into the rich tapestry of Middle-earth. Until our next adventure, may the stars shine upon your path.